What's up guys, TCG here, welcome back. Today we have the Banlist prediction video. The game is in a very weird state right now just because of the pandemic. I wanted to have a discussion with you guys to see how exactly Konami should approach recreating the game for the better good for when we are able to start the official tournaments again. So I want to hear your guys' opinion. Let's have a discussion in the comments because everything is up in the air right now. There's not a certain meta unless you want to count the online meta, but Konami doesn't regard that. So basically everything could happen. Keep in mind that there's a chance that Konami doesn't do anything again like they did during the last ban list because they have the excuse that there are not any official events right now, so why would they hit anything if they haven't sold enough product? But for the sake of having a video and for the sake of seeing exactly what you guys think that is problematic right now, let's discuss the ban list. I will give you guys my opinion in this video and I want you to leave in the comments down below what you agree with me, what you don't agree with me, and give me your guys' opinion on what you think should happen during the next list. So before we begin, if you enjoy this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel because it helps us a lot and you won't miss a single video. And now let's get to the video. So first off, the ban cards, I wanted to keep it very simple. I don't want to overcomplicate anything just because there are a lot of decks right now that are playable, but I just wanted to make sure that the higher decks are just a little bit toned down to make sure that new product can be released. Like we have the new Dogmatica being released in Rise of the Duelist. There are a lot of other decks that we are going to have with Phantom Rage, but this is in a very long time from now, like 4 months, so I don't think we should regard any of these decks. But let's see what the top decks are. The top decks are right now are Eldritch that got a huge boost from the Numeron, and Emancipators, which have been very good ever since they came out. So all those decks that are below them, like Orcas, like Altergeist, like Dinos, I don't think they should get hit at all, but these two decks need to be addressed just a little bit in order to make sure that they're more to the other decks level. So first off, with Emancipators, there's one card that pushes this deck over the top, and this is Block Dragon. Block Dragon did not seem an unfair card back when it was used in Geminites because you were only using it just once to create an FTK that was not the most consistent FTK in the world. But now that you have something that can search all those tuner monsters that get spammed onto the field and give you more monsters from your deck, and that you can use it as infinite link climb because the effective special summon itself is not once per turn, it makes this deck seem a little bit overwhelming when the opponent's trying to deal with it. If they don't have something to stop the initial play and they get going, then they can use Block Dragon like 3 times in a single turn to go into a Napaloosa. And also Block Dragon, keep in mind, protects all your monsters from being destroyed anything by battle, so you can protect your monsters from cards like Lightning Storm. So it has that utility to it as well. It's a really, really good card, and I think banning it will give the Emancipator a chance to be a fair deck in the meta, but not be the absolute best deck in the meta. Don't get me wrong, Emancipators will still be a great deck even if Block Dragon gets banned. It has the tools to create a lot of negates, it has the Kawakimerus to play around Hunt Traps, it has a lot of good monsters in the archetype like Leonite, Raptite, and Dragite, so these synchro monsters give you a lot of advantage and they also give you negate and board clearing. So just not having Block Dragon makes it so that the deck is played in the more extent that it's supposed to be played, where you rely on your excavations in order to get a board, because if you whiff, then you won't have the best monsters on the field. And Block Dragon actually decreased the amount of weaknesses that the deck had, so I think it's a really, really good card to hit for the deck, and it also stops once and for all the Geminite FTK. I know that it doesn't seem play anymore, but the FTK is still possible even with Real Infusion banned, and Konami doesn't like FTK, so they would not like for it to resurge at certain points. So just banning Block Dragon right now means that this FTK is also out of the meta completely, even though it was not very meta relevant. Now the next card I want to talk about is Link Cross. I surely believe Needle Fiber would need to get banned instead of Link Cross. So the problem is I don't think Konami will ban Needle Fiber anytime soon, because think back when we had Firewall Dragon, we all said that Firewall Dragon needed to get banned, but so many cards became collateral damage for Firewall Dragon before he got banned. I think this is the exact same scenario. We lost cards like the Strudel, like Steam the Claw, Bulb, and a lot of cards are going to follow before Needle Fiber gets banned. Even if Needle Fiber gets banned, most of these cards will never come back. So Link Cross is another one. Without Needle Fiber, I don't think Link Cross is broken. But with Needle Fiber getting your All Iron from the deck and then going into Link Cross and going to stuff like Metal Marcher and your Herald of the Arclight gives a lot of decks the potential to combo off. And just having one Jet Synchron can give the absolute greatest board to any kind of combo deck. even if your deck doesn't do anything on its own. So just Link Cross facilitates an even more broken combo with Needle Fiber. Without it, I don't think Needle Fiber is that broken. It can still be really good because you can get a lot of good monsters from the deck. Maybe without it, people start using Needle Fiber's second effect during your opponent's turn. They will not link it away immediately to make plays, but we'll have to wait and see. It's still a really good card, even without Link Cross, but Link Cross makes it so it's absolutely broken. And people are completely bored of seeing Needle Fiber and Link Cross in every single deck profile that they see on YouTube. They're trying to see something original with a deck they like, and they end up just watching another Needle Fiber Link Cross combo. And that's not fun because it turns out like a Zodiac Engine where everything had it. So yeah, I don't think that's good for the game. We need to make sure that every deck has some uniqueness to it and they don't all end up combining everything into using the same combo. So I think Link Cross is a better hit if Konami doesn't want to hit Needle Fiber. If they want to hit Needle Fiber instead, that's perfectly fine. I think that would be the better hit, but I just want to base this prediction on what Konami will probably do and not what they should do. And the last card that I want to get banned is True King of all Calamities. This card is basically a Utopic Zexal, but a little bit harder to get out now that Numerons are out. The problem is that the Numeron Engine just came out, so I don't think they will hit Zexal just yet. Would be really surprised if they hit it already. But True King of all Calamities is a card that a lot of decks can use. We had like Synchro Endless deck. There's also the card called Diviner of the Heralds that we haven't had yet, but this card promotes unhealthy play if True King of all Calamities is on the game, because this card gives you the effect with Trias Hierarchia to banish it and then go into Valkyrie's X and Valkyrie Sigrun, and this gives you a one-card Calamities. So that's a really broken combo that a lot of decks are going to use if we have True King of all Calamities when Diviner of the Herald is released. So I think promoting new cards like this is a bit unhealthy. If we have Calamities in the field, it's a card that doesn't let you play at all. It doesn't even let you attack. And yeah, why would you have a card like that in the game? Zexal is going to follow it for sure eventually. Not yet, just because they would like to sell more Numeron cards. They will keep that for one more format. So expect that to get hit during the next ban list. But for now, I think Calamities is a really good start to start removing all those unfair monsters that don't let you play the game. For the limited cards, I have only one. That's Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine. Like I said, Eldritch is on top along with Emancipators, especially now that they have the Numeron Engine. There's a debate that the Synchro Eldritch deck is better. Some people think the Numeron deck is better. That's all fine, but this card is the main point of the deck in both builds. And just because the deck is so versatile right now, and it's not really a control deck when you play the Synchro Engine, but with Numeron it is, you have to make sure that the deck is not overpowered, because being able to use your Numeron Engine during your own turn, that locks you into only one summon after you use the Networks effect. So basically that's Zexal. But if you have cards like Scarlet Sanguine, you can just play during your opponent's turn, get an Eldritch out of your deck, and then all your traps will be live, so it doesn't really matter that your network restricted you during your own turn. So I think this card is a really good hit. You can access it with other ways. You can use like cards like Foolish Burial Goods to send the appropriate golden land card so you can get it. So it's not like it's just one limited card. It's accessible with other ways. It's just not, you will not see it during your opening hand. So you need to play other cards like Foolish Burial Goods maybe to get access to if you want to have the more consistent deck. So yep, these are the hits. I think if we do this, then the format is toned down a little bit. The top two decks become more fair. They come to the other decks level, so we can have other decks compete at the same level. Like I said, other cards will eventually be need to get hit. Like Zexal, we definitely this card's going to be banned eventually because it promotes the same amount of unfairness as True King of all Calamities. Other cards that will get hit eventually that you can expect is maybe Mist Valley Thunderbird. Once Tri Brigade are out in Phantom Rage, there will be a lot of decks and can get Seymour out of their deck very easily and then use a Union carry on top of it. But like I said, this Phantom Rage set is very far away, so we don't need to address that anyway. I'm just giving you a foreshadowing of what's going to happen eventually in the future. But for now, I think these hits are good enough. They don't need to hit a lot of cards just to make the format balanced. And now let's go to the Unlimits. The Unlimits are just a few cards that I think are completely fine right now. They don't deserve to be at 1 or at 2. So first, let's start with the 2 cards that are left that are semi-limited, besides Malicious, of course. When these 2 cards come back at 3, the only card left in the semi-limited list will be Malicious. And I think Malicious is the only card that realistically needs to be in the semi-limited list just because of the way the card works. Every other card being at 2 is completely pointless. I don't think the semi-limited list serves a purpose at all because the consistency doesn't drop too much when you have from 3 to 2. Just if you want to limit something, just limit it or have it at 3. So the first card is Sky Striker Mecha Widow Anchor. Sky Strikers did have a splash during the beginning of the online format because of cards like Access Code and the amount of easiness you could use with Needle Fiber and Selene. So it had a way to deal damage because Sky Striker always had the problem of not being able to finish your opponent off quick enough. But with cards like Access Code, it was able to do it. But still, I don't think Sky Striker is that good. It just caught people off surprise. The deck still relies on cards like Mystic Mind to stall enough in order to get its pieces that it needs to win. wins, so just having one more Widow Anchor would not do anything. As long as Engage is banned and as long as multi-roll is at 1, the deck's perfectly fine. Engage was what pushed this deck over the top and made it unfair. Multi-roll being at 1 means that if Thorn gets rid of it, then you have to use one of your Kagaris to get it back, so it's not something like you can have like 2 multi-rolls and don't care if one gets removed. If it gets banished, then you probably would lose all your win conditions. So the deck is at a really good point right now. It's not even to the point of being tier 1, so just give it back. It's 3 Widow Anchors, it will not do anything. The next card is Tour Guide from the Underworld. There's one debate that this card is going to promote Dragoon even more because there's a combo with Sangan that you can do. But again, I don't think it's that good. A lot of decks are going to use Dragoon, if not every deck in the format. So just having one more Tour Guide with Sangan wouldn't do much because hopefully the Konami doesn't do anything stupid and give us back a Djinn like we had in the OCG format that ruined their form. This is basically why Tour Guide was a problem there, because you could use the Clauseless combo to do something with Dragoon, but since we don't have the Djinn, then that's totally fine. The next card is RedMD. RedMD got its errata. It's perfectly balanced right now. Being able to use it once and being able to special summon it once means that having 3 copies would not do anything. It's not like the old days where you could spam all 3 on the field and get a lot of revivals and use the effect multiple times. So give us 3 copies back, maybe. It will promote some decks to use it as a way to extend monster from the hand and not just use a Guard Dragon combo to bring out the 1 Red MD from the deck to remind us of the old days when Chaos Dragon was a thing. And the next card is Pantheon of the Monarchs. Monarchs do not deserve that. I think the deck is perfectly fine right now. Yes, there's the domain lock. Yes, there are cards like Vanity's Fiend and Majesty's Fiend that exist in this deck and very accessible. But again, it's what a control deck does. It tries to not let the opponent play the game. So I don't think it's like in the level of Altergeist, which basically tries to do the same thing, not in a floodgate way, but in a way that it overwhelms you with negates and advantage. So with 3 Pantheism, the deck would get back that consistency boost that it needs, because Monarchs are notorious for breaking, and with 1 Pantheism, that became even harder for them. But with 3, they would have more draw power, they would have more search power, and I think a lot of people would rejoice with 3 Pantheism, because I know there are a lot of Monarch fans out there that enjoy playing the deck even to this day. Next up is Reasoning. I don't think Reasoning is a card that deserves to be at 1, but Konami seems to be afraid of this card because of decks like Infernoids. Infernoids are not that good. Yes, they did get a new card, which is really good, but again, the deck doesn't do anything. And Reasoning is a card that helps a lot of weaker decks that need more monsters on the field. And again, it's a luck-based card if you're not using Infernoids, because Infernoids abuse the fact that they can't be normal summoner set to mill a lot of cards, but in any other deck, Reasoning is basically, if your opponent knows what you're playing, then you're probably not going to get the best Reasoning off. But again, I don't think Infernoids will be that big of a problem, so Konami should just release this card. They don't need to be afraid of something like that. They have kept this card at 1 for a very long time. And the last card is Draco Face-Off. The 1 Ignister Prominence means that this card could easily come back at 3. Ignister was the problem card that you could get access to very easily, but they both have been at 1 for quite a long time. But Draco Face-Off, especially now that we don't have Electromite, giving you 1 more monster on the field, like Pendulum monster on the field, doesn't do anything. It just gives you more fodder to go into your plays with maybe your Guard Dragons, because you can get your Draco Slayers. Then it would give Pendulum a boost, and especially because when they decided to ban Electromite, they also limited Servant. So the only way the deck could be played right now is with a lot of spell counters, a lot of Endymion and Mythical Beasts. So having Draco Face-Off back maybe would give us the option to play other types of Pendulums, like a Draco Slayer, Draco Overlord deck, which could give a little bit more variety to the Pendulum and some love to the Pendulum players out there. So yep, that's my prediction, guys. I think I kept it quite simple. I don't want to overcommit to other decks because, like I said, I don't think there's anything too broken right now, unless you count Emancipators and Eldritch. These are the most broken. They're not tier 0 or anything, but they are better than the others, so that's why I wanted to address these, just to make sure that every deck would be pretty much at the same level, because the format needs to be diverse by the moment we get back to the game, because that's when people will start playing, will start picking up cards. So Konami needs to make sure that the game is enjoyable, but by that time, so people do not quit the game because they are used to an online format, or they've just lost their interest in the game because they haven't played in such a long time. So yeah, once again, I want you to leave your thoughts down below, what you think should get hit, if you think I missed anything, if you think other stuff are unhealthy for the game and need to be addressed. Let's have a discussion and see what Konami will most likely do. If you think they will give us a ban list, if you think they will just give us like one of the ban lists we got previous time and they just bring out 2 to 3 cards at 3 and that's it. So yep, like I said, guys, give us a like if you enjoyed this video. It helps us a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos, and we'll see you next time.